I'd like to call to order the June 3rd, 2025 Columbia Borough Council meeting. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson King.
Here.
Councilperson Kaufman.
Here.
Councilperson Stahl.
Here.
Councilperson Fisher.
Here.
Councilperson Giese.
Here.
Councilperson Murphy.
Here.
Councilperson Brevard.
Here.
Mayor List.
And please let the record reflect that Sergeant Art is here representing Chief Brummer. I got you. Great. Would anybody care to offer an invocation? If you'd like, please rise for a moment of silence. Sergeant Art, would you like to lead us in a pledge?
Absolutely.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Announcement of executive sessions, there were none. Any additions, deletions, or reorganization of the agenda? No. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda as published?
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Giese to approve the agenda as published. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, citizen comment, non-agenda items only. The first sign up we have is Brad Chambers.
Hey, how's everybody doing? My name is Brad Chambers, 304 Cherry. I think I know all of you. So the reason that I am coming out to comment tonight is I don't think any of you knew this, but I've been talking to Ty Brigard about how we can promote Columbia as an underground railroad site and how we can bring some eyes to Columbia to get that national attention and bring some revenue to the borough. And in the interest of that effort, I have tried to organize a Juneteenth barbecue on June 15th from 1 to 3. And this is an event that I have personally financed, not a political event. And I have people speaking about the history of Juneteenth and how that relates to Columbia. And I gave out flyers in the market house and other places. I think it is a good idea to get people who are like currently popular and to bring that traffic to Columbia. However, I've gotten some negative attention from this event as of late. After I gave out flyers at the market house, it seemed that there was someone talked to someone and said that I should not have the event because it was partisan. And I think that is it's a bit short-sighted. And I was wondering if you could give me some guidance as to how I could avoid these pitfalls so I can bring traffic to the borough and, progress this place.
Are you aware that there's a Underground Railroad Museum being developed right across the street?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, that there will help. I mean, if you are looking for, if you need space, you fill the facilities use request.
Yep.
And it comes before council and we approve or deny that.
Yes.
So I'm kind of confused as to what.
Oh, I did fill out a facilities use request, and it was, initially denied. And then I was given an ultimatum to change aspects of the event. So I was coming here to ask you if you had any guidance as to.
It wasn't denied through here.
Yeah.
We didn't get a facilities use request.
Okay.
So I don't know who.
Was it with
Denied
Columbia
that.
Crossings or
It was
Columbia Borough?
Columbia Crossings.
That's
Yeah,
all.
because
That's
we-
completely managed by Susquehanna National Heritage.
Right.
If it's the footprint of the building, it is their call.
I understand. Okay. I appreciate that clarity. And I will continue to try and get this, make sure that this happens, because I think it would be a good thing for the borough.
Hey, Brad.
Yep.
Well, I believe it's in the contract with them that they can't have, well, I guess it was supposed to be political
Yeah.
events.
Yep.
It,
I think that's the trouble with me is if it's me,
you're political.
it's considered political. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the stuff says that it's being hosted by Bradford, PA, and,
So you've all read it?
Oh, yeah.
well,
it's-
I saw it, I
It's
saw
online.
That
it,
makes
yeah.
it political.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So
So,
go ahead.
let me just stop you there for a second. If it is political, you can use the grounds. The grounds we control.
okay.
But the building itself is run by
SNHA.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
However, we would need a facilities use request filled out through the police department to go through the normal.
And this is different, I guess, from the Market House, because I've had a couple events
Yes.
there before.
Right.
Okay. That
Yeah,
makes
this-
sense.
This is part of their agreement contract with us.
Right.
But
Okay.
the grounds, the market house, they're available.
Okay.
Other borough parks, that's all our,
Okay. Appreciate that. I'm thinking, I mean, well, I think it's still going to happen. So if any of you had any interest.
Do we don't have a meeting before then, do we?
Yes.
next Tuesday,
Okay.
but I need the information by Thursday to have it on the
If
agenda.
you want me to submit anything, I can have a really quick turnaround time.
You have to see the police department.
Sure.
I think the applications are out on the wall, so I would take one with you tonight.
Okay.
Special event
Appreciate that.
application.
And we will also require proof of insurance naming the borough as additional insured.
Gotcha.
And I think it's
I wanna
$1
say-
million liability, I think.
Yes.
I'll thank all of you, and I appreciate that.
Sure.
Thank you. The next sign up we have is Sharon Littner.
Good evening. I had a question about, is this on? Oh, now you can
Yep.
hear me. Okay. Some remarks that were made at the end of the meeting last week. I just want to know if it's going to be accepted now that one person or one council person can decide if a topic goes on the agenda or not. Because if a constituent asks to discuss something, I'm wondering how it is that one person can decide that it's not going to go on and there need not be any further discussion. How would the public then be able to express opinions on it and so
I
forth?
don't know that there was ever a request denied because Sharon, I do the agenda.
Well, somebody stood at this podium and asked for further discussion on that, and it was told that they could put it on and that it could be discussed in the future. And then last week, we were told, no, we don't need any further discussion.
I don't remember what that was about.
The bus shelter,
Yeah, Sharon, that was me
Yes.
personally.
it
And
was.
that was her that
Not-
requested it, and then
Yeah.
she didn't request, she said
But
it
she
wasn't
said there
needed.
won't need to be any further
No, I
discussion.
said, I personally do not think we need to discuss it any further. Not that, because I asked to put it on I was checking to see if it needed to be put on the agenda. But if the citizen wanted to request, I wasn't speaking on behalf of any of the citizens. It was me personally.
That
that
you said
makes
it would
sense.
not need to be
But
discussed.
if it added to the agenda, then go ahead.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
not shutting it down
I
entirely?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
If they still want to, if someone still wants to discuss it, it can be brought forward.
Okay,
Yeah.
because you had mentioned the cost
Yeah.
and that we were trying to save money, but I thought it was a bad place to start to save money on something that served the borough residents, at least some of them. So, okay, well, thank you for clarifying.
All right, the next sign up is Frank Daltrick.
Good evening, everybody. On the Market House, my understanding the kitchen is going to be open. I got on Facebook today and I seen 3 people there that's going to be running that. Did I hear wrong somewhere else that this was going to be open weekly,
No, you're correct.
You're correct.
starting?
June-
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
So what's the hours?
The hours are Monday 11 to 6, Tuesday 11 to 4, Friday 11 to 4, and Saturday 10 to 2.
So then this is not going to be breakfast.
No. She runs another business outside of that, so.
So is it going to be lunch, or do you know, do you want to have pizza, or you know what all the,
So I ate there yesterday. You've been at their smaller place. You saw the menu on the smaller place. It's still a lot of Greek food, cheesesteaks, cheeseburgers, pulled pork,
French fries.
salad, French
mac and
fries,
cheese.
mac and cheese. But yeah, she does have a connection for pizza, and I think she's going to try pizza sooner or later. The shifter she does. So yes.
yeah, why I'm asking, I don't like making breakfast, but I would have come every day for breakfast if they did do the breakfast, but
I think initially she wanted to, and she has the option to expand her hours. But to get started, he wanted to keep it kind of like a lunch, dinner, early dinner theme.
okay. I asked, I might have asked this before, the stand prices, who sets the stand prices
So
for the market?
the stand prices are based on $22 a square foot. And Bonnie, the market manager, she measures out the square footage and gives them a price.
Okay, well, apparently it wasn't followed before. Bonnie's new, probably, and
Actually, since you said that, June 1st was a deadline. June 2nd was a deadline for all the stands to be caught up on their contracts, their new contracts, and the new pricing for the square footage. So everybody is paying $22 a square foot now.
22.
$22 a square foot.
Okay, and I think in talking to Bonnie, she said there was a drop-off point that the people could pay their dues, what they owe.
Yes.
Now, where does that go then?
So some people pay Bonnie, and then she brings it over to the front window. Other people bring it right to the front window. So it
Okay,
just depends. Like the Amish, I believe, drop it off on Saturday at the slot, and
Yeah, we have a locked mailbox over there.
other people do it.
she said, I call it a drop-off box.
Yeah, it's a locked mailbox. And only finance has the key.
Okay. Going to finance manager. Who hired the finance manager?
Council.
Council.
You can't tell me why she was fired.
No.
No, okay. I remember looking over the resume, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I have to say what I'm feeling. I could have probably told you she wasn't going to last just from reading the resume, but she's a nice lady. We have a lot of nice people, but I tried to contact her. Her phone was turned off, and I couldn't get nothing out of her. I just heard she wasn't doing her job. But anyway, now I heard a question was asked, would she be, did she have a letter sent like the previous market manager that they wasn't allowed to be on borough property?
No.
Why was that? I was understanding it was a standard policy.
I don't want to misrepresent the mayor today, but I don't believe that is the policy. So
I didn't
I
either,
think
but
he
nobody said
misspoke.
anything on council. He said that, and
I know
Well, I know, we were all kind of shocked that he said that, because
that's not a standard
that's not a
policy.
standard policy.
I didn't think so either, but I'm glad you brought it out.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about the landlord meetings. My understanding, there was two public meetings for the landlords. How were the landlords notified?
Paula can give you that information.
By email.
Email or text?
No, email.
Yeah. Do you remember if I was on that list?
You should have been. We
Yeah,
have
'cause
all
I looked,
landlords and property managers.
The only way I knew, a realtor called me and asked me if I, in the course of our conversation, asked me if I was going to that meeting that night. I didn't know what he was talking about. And I thought it was odd that it wasn't brought out by council.
So-
Nothing was ever said here.
Frank, I do remember seeing you there. I think what Paula did was more for the codes department, but I thought it was a great idea. There's a lot of good questions, a lot of good answers. And I believe Paula is going to start doing an annual get together with landlords so that they can discuss issues that they're having or changes that are being made so that everybody's on the same playing field. What I heard a lot was from landlords was the information to be a good landlord is not easily available. Which, if you ever sat down and went through our codes, it's not easy.
No.
So I believe one of Paul's goals is to address that in a way that's so that a landlord can come into town and be a good landlord.
Yeah, long story short, I thought it was a good idea too. I thought it was a good idea to get most people together. It's a shame we couldn't get them all at one time. Now, is there going to be other meetings before the ordinance is ratified?
Probably not.
Well, I talked to so many people that never got a notice. They're landlords too.
Frank, the only way they didn't get a notice is if we don't have an email address for them. I can go back and check tomorrow, and I will. But there were 400 landlords and 115 property managers that got the email.
Yeah, I didn't know the criteria on how you did that, and I was
Yeah.
wondering. So I had to ask you if you were going to have another meeting.
I know the one meeting, Frank, had overflow turnout, or the morning one, Tuesday morning.
Same with the
Overflow
evening.
turnout.
Yeah,
Maybe they get extra sheets out, everything.
The meeting I went to, everything was great except, I know when you started off the meeting, you said you're not good at public speaking. I thought you did good. I thought you did good that way. Passing the microphone around, there was a guy talking and the manager was there holding the microphone and I had to holler, the microphone, I can speak because the sound system there it sucks.
Well, the next time there'll be a podium.
Okay.
First time, Frank.
Yes. Yeah. Well, practice makes
Right.
perfect, but I couldn't catch everything, but I went to it. But that was I just tell you what I seen. That's just my feeling. But I think it was great to do that. And my understanding is the changes will not take effect for 6 months. I guess that's when
You'll be notified when the ordinances are in effect, the changes,
by letter or what?
by email,
Email.
for sure. That's at the very least we'll do.
Okay. A little bit of what I heard at the crossings. So anybody that fills out a request to put something in down there, council will view that and they'll vote on it. Am I
No,
correct?
Not in the building.
Not on the building.
Not in the building. In the footprint of the building, that is all approved by Susquehanna National Heritage.
Okay. Yeah, I know they're doing that to raise revenue. That's how they raise their revenue. So I just wanted to be clear on that. The bathroom that was put up at 5th and Maple, did that have a shower in it?
Listen, you mean at Maple Park?
Yeah.
It's not put in there yet, but no, it
No,
doesn't have a
but-
shower.
And once it's put in, who will do the maintenance on that?
Borough staff.
Yeah, there was nothing. Council didn't bring nothing up. I sit there and I just wonder, I'd like to know a little more about it. Now, there was some in the packet that I didn't get a chance to see. I don't know how some of you people at work, how you get to do your council work, but I'm retired and I just didn't have time to go over that pack. I got it too late. It was one of them. But it was probably in there, but I was curious as to what we're going to have. So our maintenance worker, our cleaning and everything else will be done up there. How did we decide on Maple Park for that?
So when the grant, years ago, the park master plan was developed. We spent the money and did a park master plan. In that park master plan, there were plans for 3 parks: Jansen's, Maple, and Rotary. And last year, when DCNR had extra money and they needed to get it into communities, and they were looking for projects that already had plans and everything else, Lori Yike approached the borough and said, who is our contact at DCNR, and said, look, we have this grant opportunity. It's an 80-20 match, which is unheard of. And they're looking for projects that, are already to the point the plan is developed and everything else. And Columbia's parks are, you're right there. You're right what we are looking for. Jansen's does not belong to us. So
Right.
that was out. Rotary has some other challenges, plus with the bridge project upcoming, that was not ideal. So the only other one was Maple. And so that's how she said they really wanted to get it there.
Okay, and where did the funds come from?
DCNR,
Total.
Department of Conservation Natural Resources, in Pennsylvania.
Did we have to contribute any of that?
Yes, 20%,
2080, okay.
which is, again, that split is unheard of.
Okay. My last question here. I always listen when there's word on the street. And the word on the street, and I just wonder if there's any truth to the fact that you're negotiating somebody, maybe all council don't know that maybe council, someone here might be negotiating the sale or the partnership of McGinnis with a local developer. Any truth to that?
Should be.
We're not, no, there's no truth to that.
Okay. Can't do
I
no
mean,
more
there
than
may be a local developer expressing interest, and there may be just discussions in general, but we're not even to the point that we can have a marketing agreement or anything else, because we need the zoning buttoned up.
Okay, and nobody knows that there is anything.
What specifically are you talking about?
Right.
Like, what specifically are you talking about? Beating around the bush? Is there a developer or a person or something that you've heard was talking?
Developer could be a person.
Well, so what did you hear?
I just heard that there's a possibility that a developer was negotiating a partnership, buying or whatever on the McGinnis property.
Yeah, I mean, we've said multiple times sitting up here that we're not looking to keep ownership of that property.
I understand
We are
that.
looking to sell it. So why would we be negotiating a partnership when we've said multiple times we don't want to own it?
Well, that's, things are funny, but sometimes that's the way they turn out,
Yeah, no.
I'm going to ask,
Yeah,
this is
no.
what I heard, and
Well, it's not true.
without developing anything any more to it,
I will say this, I mean, part of what we're talking about here with revenue generation, I have said that I have talked to Quandl, which is a developer in Harrisburg, about a Microsoft data center, what that might look like, because they have data center experience, and I'm going to provide an update on that tonight, but that is no way negotiating a partnership with
Well,
a developer.
it wouldn't have related to that because I had mentioned Columbia. I didn't mention Harrisburg. So that eliminates
You mean a
whoever.
Columbia developer?
Yes, that's what I had said.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay, I asked, so that squashes
I
that
don't
one.
know.
mhm.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yes, Sharon?
Sorry, I just want to jump in on the end of what he said because you all said you weren't talking about that, but the mayor did say at the one recent meeting that we might enter a public-private partnership. He said that could be a possibility. So I just wanted to put that out there. I did hear him clearly say that. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
Frank's point, anything's possible, right?
Right,
We were
yeah.
going to develop into an innovation park, had to pivot.
Yep.
And it might require another pivot. I think this- that's business.
It's just, is council aware, that was my point, or they're aware that this might be negotiated behind the scenes?
No,
No.
and I don't doubt that there's rumors and conversations flying that are based on half truths, innuendo, and no truth at all as well. So,
Right,
you know, take anything with a grain of salt.
right.
But appreciate the question. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that wanted to speak that did not get a chance to sign up? No? All right. Well, Mayor Lutz isn't here, neither is Chief Brommer. Did you have anything you wanted to
Yes,
share with us?
we just wanted to let everyone know that our Memorial Day parade was very successful, and a lot of that was due to we had 18 fire police officers that volunteered,
Awesome.
7 police officers, and also 7 members of the Lions Club also volunteered their time. So it was very successful, very safe. So the police department just wanted to extend our gratitude to all of those that volunteered and made it successful.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes.
Yes, and on that same vein, this Sunday is the Flag Day ceremony in the park as well.
During the day. 1
Yes,
o'clock.
1 o'clock. All right. Workshop items. We have, the first item is to generating revenue potential.
I guess I'll lead this.
Okay,
We're going to combine the two because it's kind of like a blend.
yeah,
Right.
that's fine. I figured it would just be one big.
So as a reminder for anybody that's here or anybody that's listening, this is all conversation to help brainstorm revenue generation ideas, cost saving ideas, so that the borough can balance its general fund budget. We are running out of runway with our reserves. We just had an unfortunate tax increase. Our goal is to avoid another, and if possible, reduce taxes. So Councilman Stahl wisely suggested that we, in the near term, figure out how we can solve this problem instead of just kicking the can down the road till suddenly we got to do another tax increase. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to solve the revenue problem. Short-term goal is, it wouldn't it be great if we, in 2026, the upcoming council could reduce taxes by $1 million. That'd be fantastic. Long-term goal is to balance the budget moving forward. So as you know, the borough's done a lot of investment, McGinnis, other investments to help increase the tax revenue generation potential in the borough. We're landlocked. We're a 2x2 square mile, high density residential community with very few options. So we're hoping that creativity among council members and among the public can help us figure some of these problems out. So we have gotten some great ideas from council members and from the public. We have in the past assigned some of these points to different council people. Chief Brommer, Mayor Lutz also picked up 1 or 2. Tonight, what I was hoping to do is those who were assigned a topic to research, delve into, you could provide an update. I will provide an update for my conversations and my topics as well. And I would also invite you guys to bring more to the table. You got another idea? Bring it to the table. Let's talk about it. I think dumb ideas springboard into good ideas, right? So that being said, I'll be the first to update. Any questions, any concerns, questions, input before we get into the updates? All right. I'm going to type as we go here so I can take note of who's doing what and where we're at.
All right.
So Brad Chambers already mentioned that he and I talked about piggybacking off of the launch of the coming Underground Railroad Museum on Locust Street. How can we approach institutions, government agencies, whomever, to perhaps maybe become the Underground Railroad capital of the United States? Who knows? I think it's a great idea, and I think together we'll either figure it out or we won't. So appreciate your help on that, Brad. Concerning the data center, we all agreed that a data center would be awesome. We know that Microsoft is coming to 3 Mile Island. I've had some conversations with Quandle and Harrisburg, who are kind of the specialists at data centers, and they're, I can't really talk about what they're doing, but they're actively engaged in that space. And there is a conversation to be had with Quandel and some folks at Microsoft. My contact at Quandel is going to update me this week on what he finds out. So potential there. That'd be awesome. What became Microsoft capital of the East Coast or something, right? Data center capital. That'd be awesome. I've been talking to the president of Oak Tree Outdoor about placing billboards or other marquee type advertising on borough land. The first parcel that I brought out was the one that's across the street from the cemetery down there, the little cemetery, 5th Street, what's the name?
Zion Hill.
Zion Hill. It was that funky little weird triangle shaped parcel that we own that's good for nothing. And so we looked into that. It's about 90% there. The 10% that's not there, it's not going to work for us. So we're looking at some other borough-owned property. Not a whole lot of hope that there's anything that we could use, but going to check that box as well. Some other idea sponsors I had and even looked up that other folks are doing around the country. Sponsoring light poles. Sponsor a light pole. Tastefully, right? Have a business sponsor a light pole. How about sponsoring a trash receptacle? Sponsoring wayfinding signs once they get placed. Right? I think that'd be a great opportunity for MAC to get involved in the businesses in the downtown, sponsoring wayfinding signs to get them to their businesses. What about a sponsorship for the new Public Works building? I don't know, the Clean Right Columbia Public Works facility. I don't know. I'm going to look into that. I'm not saying any of these are legal or that they're good ideas. I'm just saying this is an idea that if I have your approval and you guys like nod your head, yeah, that sounds reasonable, I'll look into.
Well, Todd, speaking of sponsorships, I was looking on a website of the city of Du Bois, because I wanted to see something with their agendas. And when I clicked on the link for the agendas, it pops up and says meeting sponsored by, and it's a State Farm agent. So
Listen,
there's that.
see,
But I think we had that ads on website.
yeah,
So, but
that's part of this list. Sell ad space on borough website, sponsorship opportunity, sponsorship of a meeting. Brilliant. Listen, $10 here, $25 there, $50 over there. Before you know, you got thousands of dollars.
and actually, I didn't get a chance to really look at it because I've been up at the conference, but I received an email. I wasn't able to dig into it, but I received an email from Mike Knob, who's the part owner of Starview Brews, asking about putting up signage along the Northwest River Trail fence. Is that maybe something that we want to?
I think that's already been discussed, and I'm not sure if, I don't remember, because I'm in so many meetings, I don't remember if it went through the borough or not. But SNHA approached Parks and Recs and want to do an advertising campaign on the fence line.
Okay. Well, the only reason I said that was, is this, because Mike has in his thing that he was told it needs to be put on an agenda, but I don't quite know what I'm putting it on the agenda for. So,
My understanding is he wanted to come before council and discuss it and get a feel for your thoughts on it, being that the fence is on borough property.
right.
So that's
Yeah,
my
okay.
understanding of it.
So, but I don't know if that's something we want to, but Susquehanna National Heritage wants to do the fundraising. They want to charge the money on our property.
So it's technically, it's state property,
Okay.
but the borough is responsible for the sidewalks and the fence.
Mhm.
But it's not our land,
Right.
we're just responsible for it.
But if we're responsible for the fence, then we have a say in.
We do.
So if it is the boroughs, so I guess we have to decide if there's going to be an advertising campaign. Are we going to take the revenue, or are they going to take the revenue?
Well, they approached us about it and maintaining it. They would get the revenue, but my thought behind that is the more money they make, the less we have to pay.
Right.
And where is this?
Along 441, that fence line between 441 and what's that business down there?
It's,
Waste.
it's Gorman.
Gorman Waste.
Gordon Waste, yeah. The chain link fence there, very cool.
Well, I guess before we can,
I thought that already came through the council.
no, I mean, before I could respond to Mike, we would have to know, are we letting those kind of National Heritage do it, or are we doing it? Because I would hate to contradict. I would hate for us to say, yeah, go ahead and do it, and then them say, wait a minute,
Well,
we're
you're
selling
Say
advertising.
whatever you
space.
sell comes off of our portion of the monies that we give you. I mean,
Well,
but that's kind of a wash for them.
Right,
That doesn't
it
even
is.
make sense for them to do it then.
Right.
That's just a wash.
Don't they both have to come with the request?
So they
Well,
came.
and I don't understand why Susquehanna National Heritage went to Parks and Rec, because Parks and Rec can't approve it.
Right. They came through Parks and Recs. Parks and Recs was supposed to bring it to council, I guess. But they didn't have a meeting last month.
Mm.
So,
So
Kind of
whoever's
stalled.
first, that's my thought.
Hmm?
Whoever comes first. Well, does Mike come first or Susquehanna Heritage?
I mean, Mike's the first one that asked me to put it on the agenda.
that's fine. I don't want to get into a fight.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I'm just saying, like,
Keep
I,
it clean, it's the boroughs. Borough manages the fence. It's the boroughs.
yeah, all right, I'll tell Mike then to come, but we'll have to decide, like, is there a cost for
Or
him?
maybe invite them both to come the same night and present their.
Well, there has to be a cost for them.
Yeah.
Somebody has to buy the banner, somebody has to put it
Well,
up.
no, I know, if he, but are we going to charge him to hang it on our property?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
has to.
I guess we would have to come up with a fee schedule for things like that as well. So that might not be as easy as it sounds. Like, oh, come on in and charge a fee. I mean, you got to figure out what's fair and what's
Right.
consistent and what's
Square footage,
manageable,
Yep.
scalable.
yep.
No.
Okay,
Okay, good. We got one
So
opportunity there,
We got
right?
one opportunity there.
Awesome. Selling ad space on the Borough website. What do you think about sponsorship for the Public Works building?
I'm against it,
I'm against that.
Okay. Why are you against it?
because I believe, well, I'm kind of against anything the borough selling selling name rights to. Let's say Mr. Murphy decides, since he has 10 businesses in town, that he wants to name the market house after Cimarron. He wants to name the street signs after Cimarron. After a while, everybody's going to believe it's Cimarron and not Columbia. I don't agree with that.
Is that your thinking as well?
Yeah,
Scratch it?
I mean, I don't mind having a placard up saying, like, this trash receptacle sponsored by so-and-so,
Mhm.
or a little placard on wayfinding signs, like, that say, you know, this sign sponsored by the new hair salon. But I have a problem with a building being named after someone else. Yes, Sharon.
Of course, I want to jump in on that a little bit. I just want to say, we've already, with the McGinnis project, named that McGinnis Innovation, right?
Okay. So,
Not Columbia Innovation.
So, okay. So I will tell you this, okay? The only way we can get the property is if we agreed to keep the McGinnis name on it.
I recall that.
You
But
recall
is that carved in stone?
Now,
Okay.
it is only required to be McGinnis while it is in the possession of the borough.
Okay. All right. Because I thought if you're promoting Columbia,
Trust me.
why are you giving that
Trust
name
me.
to something so big?
Trust me.
Okay.
We've walked through this.
Okay.
You had a good memory. So does she. Sponsorship of the conservation area.
Again, it's no different than a building to me.
Right. I mean, I'm hoping we can work with the Conservancy on that
Conservancy,
and
yeah.
get that into the Conservancy's
Yeah, I'd rather
hands.
see something like that myself.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
For what?
That's what we're talking about. Well, we haven't come up with the program yet
Or a price.
or a price.
Okay, so conservation off the list. Public Works off the list. Ad space, the website I think is doable. The website would need to be redesigned to allow for ad space, which could be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I like that idea, I dislike that idea just as much because
Ads are annoying.
ads are annoying. They're really annoying. And when I go to a website, I just want to see the website.
That text my gov that pops up all the time.
Oh my gosh, that is
Drives me
annoying.
nuts.
I
Me
know.
too.
Well, we can get rid of that. We can get rid of that because that's
And
just
that's
an
one of our
option.
ads.
It doesn't
To
need
turn
be,
it off.
It doesn't need to be a pop-up. It could be like a
Oh, I know. I'm just-
banner ad or a
Right,
sidebar
I know.
ad, you
Yeah.
know. It could be all
But,
different shapes and sizes that
you know-
aren't intrusive.
But when you're looking at our website on a mobile device, our website is not optimized for mobile very well. And it's very hard to find things when you're on a mobile device now. Add in there a banner on the side and it's going to get even worse.
I'll say this, Todd. I would look at that idea because I kind of understand where you're going with it. Once we have a new website. But I don't want to say we need to redevelop our website so we can put ads
Serve
on it.
ads. Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That's not good money.
So I'd rather say,
Mhm.
once we develop the ad, or once we redevelop the website, we keep in mind about possible ad space.
I think that's smart. It sounds wise.
So speaking of the website, one of the sessions I was in today up at the conference was using AI tools for in local government, and talked about use cases for the different forms of AI. And one of them kind of piqued my interest, and it really got me thinking. You know, our website, we all say that sometimes it's very hard to find things on there and whatever. And going after what the Text My Gov was trying to do when it was interactive, could we see if we could get a chatbot added to our website?
To do what?
So they go on there and they say,
That-
it pops up and says, what can I help you with? And they say, I want to find a legal ad. And boom, it gives it to the legal ads.
So TextMyGov has that built, has that feature. You need to have somebody that populates all the
Well,
potential
right, I know,
answers.
that's what I'm
Yes.
saying. That's what I'm saying. We didn't do the Text My Gov well.
Because it costs money.
Well, but can we do that with our website though? Maybe we
You
explore.
still need to have populate potential questions and AI to answer correctly and not be annoying. It requires
But-
an investment.
Right, but if Revise, I'm sure they have some chatbot
I'm sure they do.
option already built. And I mean, the information is on our website. It's just a matter of finding it. And an AI is going to be able to find it on our website faster than, because the thing with Text My Gov is someone actually had to go in and put those tags and links in.
That's correct.
With AI, you don't have to do that. It automatically finds those tags.
Can we put a sponsorship to it?
I don't know. I mean, I
After we
don't know if
develop
the,
website.
I don't
That's
know
what I'm
if,
here to talk about.
I don't know if
You
the
talk about chatbots. I'm here
Yeah.
to talk about sponsorships.
yeah, I'm sorry.
If we're going to do anything to the website, the very first thing, the most important thing is add a payment.
Well, that is not on the website. That's not. We can add that. That's not like. That's easy to do. The issue with the adding a payment is all of the back office work that has to happen to take those payments via the web.
And it comes at a cost as well. There's a
And-
surcharge.
And well,
that's
not
applied,
that's not the problem.
unless you charge it back to the.
The issue
payer.
is, here's the issue. So
Payor.
when someone's issued a parking ticket,
Right.
after so many days it doesn't get paid, it goes to the DJ's office. But it doesn't always happen right away. It may be, what is it, 7 days?
Mhm.
So after 7 days it goes, but someone comes in here on the 8th day to pay it. Our people look and it hasn't been sent to the DJ's office yet, they can still pay it here. But once it goes to the DJ's office, so someone's here has to physically look. So if we go online, there's no way for us to put it online to check when that ticket was issued and things like that. So someone pays online. The people here still have to do all of that work to look at that. And if it's been sent to the DJ's office, then they have to go through the steps of refunding that money and contacting that person, and it creates extra work on the back end. Plus, they still have to process it to get it over to accounting. So it's creating work. Until we can get integrated systems, it's more work than we can do.
Is there a smart ticketing system that we can get into that would
Yes.
eliminate the
There
amount
is.
of back work we're doing?
Yes, there is. And the thought was, and see, this is where this whole project things comes in. We were always holding off on this because it was in RACP Phase 2. Well, now that we're revamping it, we're not held by the RACP, so we could proceed with that. We just have to have a cash flow. We just have to know how, and Jack's already been told, get us the numbers. Let's get that. That's going to be one of the ones that we want to go with.
And then once that's integrated, then it can easily become an integrated web page
Yes.
payment system.
It more easily, yes. As long as the accounting can work, and I'm not quite sure how that will work yet. Without Tammy here, I'm not able to see how that all works together because I don't know enough.
Because, like, to me, it just makes sense that a ticket should be issued and it has a code that is in the system.
A number.
And once it reaches the point of being sent to the DJ's office, it expires its ability to pay. So then you would go on the line, try to pay it, say, sorry, you can't pay this. It's sent
Right.
on.
Right. And right now we don't have that.
Yeah.
ability. So,
Okay, but anyway, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
sorry, we're kind of all over the place. Go ahead, Ethan.
No, that's fine. I just had a few quick comments. One was for the trash can. I've also seen towns do like wraparound advertisements on trash cans, specifically on the type that we've had. I've seen some like retrofitted brackets that you can put on trash cans. So that is an option there. Another thing on the AI stuff specifically, I work in tech and I have a friend who works in cybersecurity. And there's a lot of concerns where even if you give it the right information, it's predictive. It predicts what the next word should be. It doesn't necessarily pull from a database. So it can still give wrong information, even if we give it all the correct information. So that would be my biggest worry, is somebody going and getting the wrong information from a chatbot. And I just, wanted to give that warning because I have experience with AI stuff. I had a third thing, but I forgot it. So,
Well, if you think about it, just jump up and, this is a workshop, so it's pretty loose.
So that's all I had. I struck two things off. Yes, go ahead.
You talked about sponsored highway building up on Bridge Avenue. Explain to me how that will bring in revenue.
So I don't really know. I don't really know how those kind of things work. I guess in my mind, which is probably wrong, I didn't research it, but I thought that maybe you would, a business would give the borough a donation or some money towards the building of the facility, the completion of the facility, and they would get naming rights. Or maybe it's something that turns over a year-by-year contract or something, where you're the business of the year that sponsors it, or the organization of the year. I'm just looking at things that might have revenue potential in sponsorship one way or the other. I'm not saying that they're all legal or that they would all work or there's a way to accomplish it. But it's a good question. The short answer is, heck, I don't know.
And Heather, you mentioned with an underground railroad being done over here, that would bring revenue in for the borough.
Everywhere.
That would bring it in for the developer.
Well, when people come to visit, they don't just go one place. They go and they eat somewhere. They go shopping somewhere. So it brings revenue into the borough.
Parking tickets.
Parking tickets.
Sponsor parking tickets.
No.
Oh,
Revenue.
No, we're saying that they get revenue.
Ticket brought to you by Burger News.
Oh, that's funny.
So I had an idea. I don't know if we discussed market house options, but continually the thing that I hear the most from people, and I've talked to a lot of people, as you know, but they feel the loss of the grocery store very keenly. And if we could get someone who's like a butcher or someone who sells produce in the market house, I think it would really help out citizens.
Well, we have a butcher.
We have a butcher now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not caught up on that.
Across from
That's
the pretzel stand.
And we have been selling produce.
And we're actually, Bonnie, the manager over there, is trying to work with someone to bring produce in. So that is all in the works.
That's amazing. Is it possible, because like if it's only open one day a week, that kind of like hampers us. Is there any plans to expand that?
Yes.
Okay.
If it's supported more. I mean, the thing is, people in the town have to support it, or if it doesn't make good business sense for those businesses to be open. So that's the key. That's why it went down to 1 day a week, because people were not supporting the market.
And on the topic of support, because I agree with you there, do we have ideas for an ad campaign, social media presence to kind of drive traffic to the Market House?
There's money set aside in the Market House budget for advertising and ad campaign.
Mhm.
It's not being utilized right now because
We're still trying to,
things were kind of messy over there. So
Okay.
getting that organized first before we jump into that.
but we do have ad campaigns that go through, like the Lancaster County Visitors Bureau and Lancaster County Magazine and stuff.
Yeah, no, that's great that you're doing that. But I do think, and it seems like you agree with me, that if we don't advertise, it's just going to be status quo.
Well,
I think Discover Lancaster is pretty engaged with helping promote borough events and interests as well as the Market House.
The hardest part with that is like, you know, like if it was like a grocery store, it would be utilized as one. But, you know, like, can we rely on a magazine, Discover Lancaster, to promote, like, it's kind of promoting more of the touristy aspect of it, which is fine. Traffic is traffic and interest is interest, but it's like when a grocery store goes in, you expect what that shopping experience is going to be like. But how do you create a market house that draws people in? Because it basically takes one experience where you didn't get what you expected to get, and then you just might not go back. If you were going like not just to eat and have fun, but you like needed something and it wasn't there. It's one of those things where you have to build it first and then people come, right?
Mhm.
And that is the great dilemma of the old market house style thing. And I mean, it's well known that Lancaster Market even took years to break even. And really it's like a public service to the community that is operating. It's not a profitable business in terms of what a business person would look at investing in.
And they are also struggling, even though it seems like they are struggling as well.
But it brings downtown traffic. Brings
Right.
downtown traffic to Josephine's, the restaurants and the shops and the galleries, coffee shops. It brings people in.
Mhm.
I was actually going to say that along the lines of like getting groceries there, I think that with market houses, especially with the Lancaster one, there is the perception that everything there is more expensive than going to the grocery store. And I think that that's going to be one of the biggest things to overcome, depending on how, you know, the market should be situated. But for it to fill that role of a grocery store, I almost wonder if like the traditional style of having stands where people bring in produce is just going to be like too expensive because of the overhead of that maybe there is a different way to approach the market house where potentially it is just a venue for one grocery store, like one business that like has a lot of the space that runs the whole thing partially, or that just to help reduce the costs. Because I do think that even when I went there, like I was looking at the prices and it was a lot. It was like twice as much as what I would pay at like Giant or Weiss, and it's just not sustainable, especially right now when things are more expensive.
Well, and I think you see that everywhere. I mean, unless you're going right out to, well, I always go to Abner, but unless you're going right to someone's farm, typically it is more.
And the fact that it's 1 day a week
And right.
and it's a monthly stand fee, they have to they have to overcome their overhead to be profitable.
Right. Especially because, I mean, there's a good amount of produce that's not going to last from 1 week to the next. Mm-hmm. So anything that doesn't get sold is a loss. And that's what CHI was faced with when they had it in there, and they ended up at the end of the weekend, they were giving the produce to the homeless shelter. So,
One thing we need to remember too, at the Market House, it is designed that we can have outside stands.
yes,
And we really haven't yet fully utilized that function.
No.
They're taking advantage of bringing some of these local farmers in that could really help with, a smaller amount of volume, but, they can sell their extras there. So that's one thing we need to go with. But I wanted to also add, like, if you spend I spend a lot of time, not a lot of time, but when you have weekends and that we'll go down to like, what's it called, Bootleg, and they have a eatery inside, and there's, or down to the river park. And we, you get to hear people talk, and especially people that are here for the trail, and even people from Columbia. I mean, the Wayfair signage that Heather had brought up last meeting. That's really going to be key for us to get that done, because a lot of people don't even realize. Oh, I didn't know we had. I mean, I was talking to people that live here for 10, 15 years, and I didn't even realize XYZ. I didn't realize that we had a store that did that. So a lot of people that come in for the trail make the comments of they're looking for, not just, they're looking for other things to do. Not just, I'm not an antiquer, so I'm looking for other things to do. So I think we need to, through our website too, I know we have things to do, but make sure, like we said, coming in 2027 is going to be the Underground Railroad Museum, things like that, to just let people know what's coming down the pike. So.
Oh, and Ethan, just because I'm not sure if you are aware of the history, but the grant that we received for the Market House, in order to have that grant, it has to remain as a market house. It cannot be like just rented out as one big grocery store or something like that. It has to remain as a market house.
Is there a time limit on that grant as far as like when that stipulation will expire?
I'm not sure, but typically I think it's like 5 or 10 years. Yeah.
To Ethan's,
It was 10 years?
to
I couldn't
Ethan's
remember.
point,
You were more intimately.
That's a great conversation. Actually, we're on Market House.
I had
Potential.
a comment on that I mean,
Fundraising?
no, on the Market House.
Okay. I'd like to kind of keep this conversation
we're
going. We can
herding
talk about
cats.
all that other stuff afterwards, but I just want to get through this instead of all the.
Could I just comment
Yes.
I think that it is, to Ethan's point, like when you have a bunch of stands together in one place, like not a diversion, but the responsibility of survival is everybody's, but nobody's, because it's a bunch of stands all in one place. It's a mandate for us to make sure we spend that ad revenue or that ad money that we have set aside to generate the pool to bring people in and generate interest in the Market House, because each one of them relies upon the promotion that we do as the borough owning the Market House, versus like, you could say that Columbia as a whole, we want to draw people in to our businesses. The MAC wants to draw interest to the town, but each individual business owner can also independently survive of all the rest. But
they bear some responsibility.
they bear their own advertising responsibility. But all the stands in the Market House rely upon the promotion from, I mean, sure, they can promote themselves, but they rely upon the borough to promote the Market House in the way that it should be promoted. So I really believe that we need to be spending that money that we have budgeted for advertisement. At least just start with ads, whether they work or not. At least we will start learning on how to promote it well.
Hey, Todd.
Yes, Jess.
For the purposes of, helping, this conversation, I think something that could help as far as wayfinding goes and generating business, especially coming off the trail, adding some sort of connecting bike lanes that would kind of connect key points through the city, down from the park at the river, all the way up Locust to where we're gonna have this new site for the museum, connecting these, especially to the market house. If you're getting people, it's like, hey, there's this path that goes here. Well, it's got to take you to something good. That could be something to help bring the travelers and people who don't want to just antique, bring them around town to our businesses, and maybe even adding in bike racks, outside. Maybe that's something that could be sponsored by individual businesses. Hey, here's park your bike here, come into Griddles, that sort of thing.
Chestnut Street not Chestnut, Walnut Street is going to have a bike lane.
Oh, great. Yeah, I'd love to see one up Locust too, and connecting all that. Be fantastic.
Well, the thought behind the Walnut Street as opposed to Locust is because we're trying to drive the vehicle traffic up Locust from River Park, and the bike lane will help separate the bikes and the cars, so it'll be a little more safer. That was the thought. Plus, it will then connect to the bridge once the bridge is done, so it can connect to the York County trails.
Okay. Yeah, I just think
Mm-hmm.
those bikes by the businesses and Walnuts mean more residential. So I think, yeah, or we stir that up better. It's good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Can you say your first and last name, please?
Jesse Rabinowitz.
Anything else? Eric, any ideas for the market house?
So, yeah, I've been working on a business plan for the market house. Putting a restaurant in there, and hopefully that creates a stable atmosphere for people over there. That will generate more money. Having a restaurant there full time will then allow or encourage more people to come and find out about the market house through their advertising. We're adding more stands, and the general price in Lancaster County is about $50 a square foot. We're charging $22. So, although we don't have the foot traffic yet to increase the rates, the goal is to increase the foot traffic. The other thing is the big events, weddings, for example, are very costly to the borough. A typical wedding takes about 11 hours, and that includes the market manager there full time for that 11 hours. That includes Wilson's time with maintenance there, at least in the prior to and at the end for cleanup. It also can be longer than that. I've seen a wedding take 3 days, and they're being charged for their 4-hour wedding time, but set up and everything else. So the wedding is costly. The wedding stuff is very costly. A small group that could sit in the seating area, up to 75 people, that's doable. But the big events just isn't worth it. Wilson and I had talked this past Saturday. Right now, there's about, a 4-degree difference between the heat and the air conditioner.
Well, you can vary it.
I know you can vary it, but right now it's been set at about 4 degrees.
For occupied,
Yes. I personally would like to change it. Now, I understand that people can't handle the heat anymore. People don't want to sit down there and freeze. I get that. But I think we ought to make a range, like 65 to 85 or something like that, before those utilities are being used. Our utility budget last year was $30,000.
For the market house specifically?
For a market house specifically. And that's basically electric and gas. Air conditioner on, heat on. Air conditioner on, heat on. So prior to 5 years ago, there was never any air conditioning there.
I'm not sure what you're getting at as far as cost savings and.
You can expand the temperatures. So in other words, heat or air conditioning won't kick on until it hits 85 degrees. Heat won't kick on until it hits 65 or 55. Okay, so that window, that bandwidth, it's not charging us any money. But as soon as, just like your house, as soon as the furnace kicks
So
on,
you're saying
it's money.
increase.
Yeah, right now there's a 4-degree
the
separation.
spend. Okay. That's a no-brainer.
Now, I think we have to, it's not fair for one person. I think we ought to agree on temperatures because you're gonna have your people in there to complain it's too cold. You have people in there to complain it's too hot, you know? So, we do have 6 fans or 5 fans up there. That when they're moving, they blow some air.
Well, I mean, really, the market house wasn't made to be, you go and hang out all day, so.
Well, actually it is though.
Well,
It actually is. It's a community center for the people.
yeah,
The more you hang out there, the more you're gonna spend. The more you're gonna spend, the more the vendors are gonna be willing to pay more. So, I like the idea of a community center. I also like the idea,
I do like that.
I also like the idea of going to a second day. When CHI had it, they tried Wednesdays. Well, if you're doing baked goods or vegetables, whatever else like that, you can't do stuff for Wednesday and expect it to hold over till Saturday. So I think we have to look at a day that's closer, which may put us fighting with Green Dragon. I don't know. But
We used to do Thursday, Saturday years ago, and that's about as far as you want to spread, because like, you know,
Right.
the vendors will all say the same thing. Like you said, you just can't keep your product up.
so for the next meeting, I will have a business plan completed. Brian and I have been working on it. I wanted to submit it with Steve to see his thoughts, and it just didn't get done.
Well, before we add new stands, I would just like to see the ones that we do have filled.
Okay, with that being said, George Christopher's became a full-time restaurant. Their stand is being doubled size for King's. King's is going to operate on
Oh,
both
are
sides.
they? Oh, good.
The stand that was empty by the alcohol place,
27 Bridges.
27 Bridges, that is being rented starting 2 weeks, I think, by a pancake company. They did a mini pancake stacked on a stick.
Current vendor in there.
Excuse
Her
me?
husband. It's a current vendor.
Right, but I'm saying it's
Her
going to be an
husband's
outside
vendor.
stand.
Yep.
And then the stand behind them, who's going there? Somebody's going in there. Can't think of it. But the stand behind them is going to be occupied. Now the vegetables were set up tables in the section there. We like to put 2 stands there, one for vegetables and one for open vegetables. But we'll be at 100% at that point.
Well, what about the one behind it on the bun?
That's what I'm talking about. Somebody's going back there.
The whole
The whole-
three-banger.
Yeah, I just can't think of who it is.
Hey, Eric, as far as your, utility savings concerns are for the Market House, I know it has all those clear story windows up at the top. Do those ever get opened?
No.
Because we've got the fans. This is easy thing. All those big ass fans. That's the brand of the fan, not description. You switch them to in the summer that blow the air up, get those clear story windows open. That's how that
We
building
can't.
was originally.
So
You can't.
They won't open, no. That,
Like,
that
are they
whole
painted?
thing is
Like,
a
what-
mess.
yeah, that whole
Well, instead of like that could be I don't know how expensive that would be to get those windows to be operable, but
It's-
that could save you a lot
it's
of
very
utilities.
expensive.
Compare that to your 30,000.
So here's the deal. I agree with what you're saying.
That's how the building was designed architecturally.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I look at it as, you go to Roots. If it's 98 degrees out that day, it's 98 degrees in Roots.
Yep.
If it's 55, it's 55.
Yeah.
So we've never had air conditioning and heating till, we used to have coal stoves way, way back.
Yeah.
But realistically, the last 40 years of my memories, there's never been heating or electric or air conditioning over there. So I'm not saying get rid of it. I'm just saying let's expand the temperature range.
Oh, no, I
And as far
understand
as the
that.
fans and stuff go, well, the borough's not in a position right now to deal with that roof. Wilson can tell you that they're fighting leak problems and everything else, fighting leaking problems. And to go up and revamp that under HARB would be very, very costly.
I think
I'll
we
chat with
got
Matt
that.
about
It was over 100,000, wasn't it, Wilson?
For
The whole
right
top.
now, the repair on it is about 60, but it does involve the windows.
Yep.
Also, in order to have the windows operable, it would have to be some sort of electronic situation because nobody's going to climb up there to open that window. So you're talking about a lot of, yeah, right. You're talking about a lot of money.
Controls.
Chains.
Well,
I hope the controls
you
don't
have
break
to have some
down.
sort of a system like that.
Yeah.
But it'd be good to look at it. Like, all right, I'm an architect. I gotta deal with this, but get someone who does energy, analysis in to actually see what kind of cost savings you could have. That could be something worthwhile. Might not pay off year one, maybe it pays off year 5, but compared to the rising energy costs, and that 30 is going to be 60, and before we know it, and if we could do something with some of the infrastructure we already have and these passive systems, that could save us a lot in the long run. So it'd be at least good to look into maybe just hiring someone to do an analysis.
I wonder, is this a flat roof up here?
Yes.
The fire department has solar panels on their flat roof.
I know, I was
What if we
thinking that
did
too.
What if we did solar panels on here? We're talking about energy.
Your billboards are going to be up there.
Yeah.
The solar panel sponsored.
Yeah.
I want to
Is that-
sponsor at least.
Is that crazy?
With lights, everybody can see it.
Oh, no,
Usually
we
when
can't
I
have it
apply
spinning
for
with
solar.
lights because we're in the hard.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you don't usually want them all flat.
The fire department has a flat roof and the panels
Well,
are tilted.
they build it tilted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's a consideration.
There are some solar panels that will change the pitch to match the sun.
They'll track with.
Yeah.
I want to put that on my
Solar's
list.
also crazy expensive as well.
Well, I
Yeah.
wonder if there's still like government programs,
No.
not since they cut the new Green Deal stuff.
No.
I want to look into that anyway.
Mhm.
I think the tariffs, genuinely, the tariffs actually doubled the price of solar panels.
Yes.
Because of the parts. Yeah.
That's all I have.
So I have for you, Pete said, use the marketing dollars to promote the market house.
Right.
Generate traffic. We have it. I'll talk to Discover Columbia about that. But I'm not doing it. You're working on a business plan.
Yep.
Putting a restaurant would generate more money and reasons to stay. Adding more stands, i.e. outside and inside. Would like to increase the square foot rate when it's feasible, when it makes sense to be more competitive. Big events like weddings are too costly for the borough. To save money, we could just consider dropping the big events and keep the smaller events that could fit in a 4-hour window or a limited space and our time and a limited space, such as the seating areas. Expand the range of the climate control to minimize energy costs. A lot of these you can do right now, right? Open a second day that complements the first day. Okay. I'll make sure you all get a copy of this so you know what you said. Say again, Brad? I'm sorry. Lee.
Good stuff, team.
Good stuff.
Come to the mic, please.
Could I just say for the bigger events, longer events, can we just adjust our fee?
It's not a matter of fee. Bonnie works, the market manager, not just Bonnie, but the market manager works 10 hours at least on Saturday. And then there's different days throughout the week she has to be here. And then when you throw in an extra 11-hour day or days, it becomes very overwhelming. And there's a burnout issue. So it's both protecting the employee as well as maintaining the integrity of the market house.
And like, I've never been a big fan of having those in there anyway. We have other venues around town that provide that.
That's the other
service.
thing. You are taking
And we
business
shouldn't be
away.
competing with them.
I mean, theoretically, we were underselling everybody else.
Absolutely.
And that's not fair.
Shouldn't be competing.
On the topic of smaller events, is there a way that like you could take the smaller events, lining them up with days where the market house is active, like the times as well, to get people into the building for an event and then people shop at the booths?
So they do that. There's two different types of events. There's the small events, at least in my plan, I should say that.
Okay.
There's a small event, which is $500 for 4 hours. Then there's a $125 security deposit, whether it's cleanup, repairs, or whatever. And then there is a different price. I'm going to say, I forget off the top of my head, I'm going to say $250 or $350 for the event space. The event space basically includes anywhere you can fit something in the market house or outside on the property. And that event space would be then, because we have people who put events on over there, and then they get dirt cheap right now, and they end up renting out 10, 15 different spots for $25, $30. And it's like, we're not getting any of that.
Yeah.
So that's being changed and addressed as well.
And then, yeah, like running those events alongside when the stands would be open.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I mean,
But the other part of it, when we're talking events, we're not talking about just those additional opportunities for like shopping. We're talking about so-and-so wants to rent it for a 90th birthday party for their
Baby
grandma
shower.
or
Yeah.
a baby shower. And
Baby
you can't really have that at the same time the market's going on. I mean,
right.
that's not fair.
There was one other thing I wanted to say about that, but it's not fair. Oh, no, the other thing is, as far as community space goes, the market house, at least for now, will be open those times I already said during the week. It's open to the public because it's a restaurant. So as far as community space, if you want to gather and talk to people, it'll be open, which I like that concept. The more people are getting involved down there, the more the word gets out.
I like that. I just hope that we don't see groups of people just coming in and sitting down and not patronizing the restaurant
And using the Wi-Fi,
and using the Wi-Fi.
because I want to turn the Wi-Fi off. You're there to shop.
Doesn't work anyway. They
Doesn't work.
complain that it doesn't work
I can get a
anyway.
voucher.
The
From
password or
stand over
something,
to
the
get-
password.
Yeah.
Get the password.
That it doesn't work.
All right. Thanks.
Yep.
Good conversation.
That's about
Discussion.
it for tonight, isn't it?
Fisher, beach area or quarry potential. Did you have anything to add on that?
Well, I don't think the beach area would work, at least in our section, in the Borough section. But I did have an idea of building a stage with electricity where bands could come. I think we could get bands down there from May through October.
That's phase 3.
Oh,
It's already planned.
oh, well,
20 years out from now.
Well, no,
just like a
phase 3 is
wooden,
supposed to be started already, except for the bridge.
Right.
They're going to use that in the area.
Make it 30 years out from now.
No.
Stinking bridge. Yeah, they're going to use
That's
that
the
as
whole
a
thing. That's
staging
the whole
area.
We had design for new roadways going back there. We had that approved. The cauldron and stuff, that was all taken care of. And on that first pier down there, they were going to build a stage.
yeah, I think that would,
Yeah.
people would
So,
come
yeah, I mean, your
May through
idea-
October.
Your idea
I want to put it in here.
is already accepted.
Maybe we could get it before we start phase 3.
Well, the
Well-
problem is phase
Are you
3
kidding me?
can't start until,
Oh,
because PennDOT's going to use that property
to stage for the
Stage,
bridge.
yeah.
And they may actually end up using it for, casting concrete there.
Yep. Make it have a-
Man, it's gonna be a mess.
It is, it's gonna be a mess.
And the
Yeah.
other thing is, like, a way to cut costs. Between Columbia and Lancaster County, there's $190,000 given each year. We give 175, and Lancaster County gives 15,000. And if we could just encourage Susquehanna Health to possibly petition Lancaster County to raise theirs, and then like, could we split that 190,000?
What are you talking about?
Then we would
I
save.
don't know what you're talking about.
Well, the, what we donate, like here, the budget update, the annual budget, like they get,
Susquehanna National Heritage.
yeah, they get 175,000 or 115,000 from Columbia and only 15,000 from Lancaster County. And if we could encourage them to have Lancaster County give them more, like maybe we could split that between Lancaster County and Columbia Borough. So it would be like 130,000 split. We would save like maybe 60,000. Just a thought.
So you said 170, is that what we give them? What is it?
We give them 115
115. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's our
and
contracted
and
amount.
Lancaster County gives them 15,000.
Okay. So what you're
So
saying
that's
is,
like 130,000. Like if we could split that.
so what you're saying is 115 from the borough yearly, and nearly 15,000 from Lancaster County.
Yeah.
Can we petition Lancaster County to pitch in more,
Yeah.
take some of that liability off of us?
Like maybe if we did it 50-50, we would save maybe 50,000, $50,000 to $60,000.
Can you?
Well, we have to watch, because I forget the number. The money we get from Laxwama
Mhm.
and the cell tower is earmarked for paying for that.
Mhm.
And that, I forget the amount off the top of my head, but it's a good chunk of that 115.
Even if it's 15,000,
Right.
we could get to offset our
Well,
costs.
right, no, I know,
Lost.
but I have to look at that. I do not remember off the top of my head.
Can you look at that, Barb? And
I want to find out. Okay.
It's a good suggestion. It's good. Peter Stahl. Frank brought up the idea of permits. And you said, hey, that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah, so I did not come up with a formal discussion on the changes that I want to see us make, but I was doing a little bit, I have the numbers in front of me again. We currently are charging between 6 to 10 times the amount that Lancaster City charges for permits. And I would like to see us bring our permit fee schedule into a more comparable setup that's a little bit more complex. We currently have a fee schedule that's simply $50 for the first $1,000 of the project, and each additional $1,000 is $10, which works out to be 1% of the project cost, which doesn't sound that bad. But if you have, as we heard from Sean the other meeting, the average single family dwelling costs $600,000 to build. And so 1% of that's $6,000 for, let's say, a 2,000 square foot home. If we matched Lancaster City's fee schedule, which is 45 cents per square foot, that same 2,000 square feet times 45 is $900.
But you're doing apples and oranges here. The fee you're talking about, Lancaster City's commercial.
No. They have residential and commercial. I was doing their residential
Oh, okay.
numbers there.
Okay.
The commercial is up at 50 cents for new construction, multifamily. Anyways, it's comprehensive. Their fee schedule is very comprehensive in terms of, once you get into large commercial alterations, they have tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 to incentivize the larger projects and to bring the cost down, because really all of our other fees we base upon the cost it takes for us to do the administration of it. So to process the application, and any additional inspections or whatever can just be at cost. And any solicitor fees, we already have that in at cost. And so my thought behind it is, let's bring our fees down, that we really don't have a justified reason for charging as much as we do to incentivize larger projects. Reason being, for small alterations and building projects throughout town, like someone puts a deck on, our fee schedule is fine for that. It really doesn't hit that hard to if you have a $3,000 project, that's $50 for the first 1,000, and then it's a total of $70 for that project. But when we're talking multi-million-dollar projects, then suddenly our fee schedule is way off of what the market rate is.
So you're saying we currently charge 6 to 10 times what Lancaster City charges for building permits.
Mm-hmm. Both renovation and new construction. It's kind of a range.
Their model kind of is like 45 cents per square foot. Duplicate the comprehensive fee structure of Lancaster City to lower permit costs to incentivize improvements.
Correct. It is not a direct revenue increase we are decreasing the amount of revenue, but the point being, if we can have any part in incentivizing development, we're going to increase the revenue brought in by taxes.
I think that's wisdom. Yeah, very much so. And I think it improves quality of life, property values across the board, and again, it makes us more taxable in our little 2x2 square in the future than we are today. I think it's smart. Any other? You want to look into that?
Yep.
You also said sell excess borough assets or property.
Yeah. So, I'm thinking specifically of the firehouse. We are in a lease there.
Oh, I have some information on that.
Okay.
So we think we found the loophole. Get out of that lease. So we may be able to get out of it this year. Because the way it's written, we know they can extend it for up to 5 years, but it's not a one-time request. They have to request it every year. And at this point, they have passed the window to be able to request it. So we may be able to get rid of them, but we're still going through with the appraisal with that subprime lease included, just so we know what it is worth.
And hopefully they can be a potential buyer of the property if it's useful to them. And but I'm thinking specifically of 3 properties right now: the firehouse, the wastewater treatment plant, all of which we're making slow baby steps on, I think. And then the excess land at the Public Works new site for the Public Works building, which is about 6 acres. I want to see us sell all of those this year.
Yes. As increasing revenue, there may have been misunderstanding on the lease with the wastewater treatment plant. If you guys remember when we were going through that and Evan was writing that lease, he told us it was triple net zero. They paid for everything. They paid property tax. They paid for the repairs and all of that stuff. Well, as it turns out, we weren't charging them for everything that we should have been. So we were paying the property tax, we were paying all of that stuff.
Makes sense.
So that is being corrected as well.
So is that just rectified moving forward, or can we retroactively go
I,
back
I
and
don't know
add
if
it
we
to
can
the
or not. Evan is
sale price or
looking at that,
whatever?
yes.
Nice to capture that.
I was talking and, yeah.
Good. At least we
I-
discovered it.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying. And as far as the excess property at Ridge Avenue, what needs to happen there is, we're waiting to get, all we need to do is purchase that property for the access road. And I believe that's in the borough's hands right now to get that completed. And as soon as that's done, we have everything we need to record the subdivision plan. But we have to pay that $50,000 and get title for that section. And then we can record the subdivision plan and then we're set. We're ready to go. So that should be quick as well.
Did Mayor imply last meeting that the deal with the problem with Norfolk Southern down the wastewater treatment plant, that's kind of being resolved?
Yes, it is. It is, we believe we have the path forward on that, and that's being ironed out as well. You know, sitting here saying these things, I have to tell you, the last session I was in this afternoon was for boroughs with population greater than 10,000 or greater than 4,000 people, and over half of the conversation was how are you generating revenue? How are you generating revenue? What opportunities, and lamenting the fact that the state has not given us many tools in our toolbox. They've given us one, property tax. That's it. But everyone there that was able to generate in other ways, every one of them said the same thing, that the only thing that is saving them is the fact that they have utilities, whether they have a wastewater treatment plant or they have their own electricity generation. So, because that gives you the flexibility to raise more revenue. And it also gives you a mechanism to add different fees that would help with the services that you're providing. Like, for example, a sanitary sewer or a storm sewer fee, which is basically stormwater. We're not
Pay that
allowed
to
to charge a
city.
stormwater fee, but we can charge a storm sewer fee. So, but having a utility is what is the saving grace, because they have that utility, they're able to do those things. So I just thought that was really interesting. They also shared that I realized we are very lucky with our volunteer fire department. The one gentleman shared that they had to go with a paid fire department, and it costs them almost 1.5 times what their police department does to have a fire department. So we are very lucky in that, because think what our police department costs, multiply that by 1.5, and that's what we would need for the fire department on top of that. So we are extremely lucky on that.
So do you think that the sale of these 3 properties within the next 2 years is potential for that?
I think that it is possible to have them definitely by the next 2 years, yes. I'd like to see them all this year, but I'm not sure it's going to happen.
I don't know about Ridge. I know it looks simple, but there's plenty of steps involved with that yet.
Well, if I mean, it already has the Act Two covenant on it, so we don't have to do that work. It's already there. And we sell it with the Act Two covenant on. I mean, we already have people interested in it.
I know.
So, I mean, I'm more worried about that firehouse and the wastewater treatment plant. I think they're going to be harder to button up.
Peter, you mentioned, hey, can we eliminate one council meeting? Save staff time, electricity bills.
But you would say council member.
That was the next step. Is that something we want to talk about? Can we get it all done in 2 meetings?
No, unfortunately, no.
Unfortunately, I don't think so.
Unless we go back to committees.
No, that's even worse.
I'm not saying it's not
More
worse.
demanding.
I'm just saying that's you're really only.
Yeah, that's the only way, because especially with authorizing the bill payments and things like that, and you don't want to end up being late on bills.
I do have something to say. Has anyone ever written a grant in the police department? Because this is something I've really been thinking a lot about. There's a lot of equipment that we could get through grants. There's a 3-day school through Penn State that one of us could go to. I mean,
So generally
radios.
with grant writers, you can hire a grant writer, and generally, the grant writer's fee can be put into the
Well,
grant.
What I'm saying is we could, like, I could go to a Penn State training for 3 days and then write grants for our agency. Has anyone ever done that?
I mean, I know we did the body cam grant. Chief wrote that one. But yeah, any that he's done himself. But we do have service available that will help us write grants. It's just a matter of knowing what we want and telling council what we want, what you want, and what you need, and we can make that happen.
But to your point, if you can talk to the chief about going to a class,
Yeah,
Have at it.
Yeah.
I've been reading books about grant writing, and it's called the per capita grant. And we could get so much stuff: PBTs,
Let's
tasers.
do it.
It's a 3-day class that I could go to.
Councilperson Geese is next on the list, and our
Sorry.
third topic is
Is it?
budget
go.
and bulk buying.
There you
So
go.
I'm
There you
going to
go.
assign you two to work together on discovering what grant writing might look like
Go
for the
for it.
police
Yes,
department.
yes,
You guys do that?
Yeah. I mean, it's something that
Yeah, I mean, if you
Yeah.
know what the grants are, I mean, have at it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
I mean, we could get a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
A lot
awesome.
of stuff.
Have a grant writing in-house is invaluable.
Mhm.
Really.
Thanks for bringing that up, Holly. First Sergeant.
Yes.
Councilperson Geese, did you have anything to add on the bulk buying?
No. Things that I thought we could save money on, the reasoning behind it, you really can't. Even with staff purchasing things, some of the things that we're purchasing from local businesses is because you need it right now. So you can't wait, but they are utilizing cheaper places when they can. And some of those places are small businesses, so you really don't want to take from them either.
I wonder,
I'm still looking.
like I'm a vet, right? Everywhere I go, I get 10% discount. I make sure I get it.
Mhm.
I wonder if, is there like a municipal discount you can get?
yeah, it's tax-free.
Tax-free.
It all is tax-free?
Yeah.
Nice. And we exercise that, right?
Absolutely.
And we participate in the purchasing program with the county as well.
Good.
To save money.
Well, it looks like you two have your work cut out for you.
I'm good.
Councilperson Zink, expedite current projects.
Yes. I'm driving them. I'm driving them.
You're driving a
I
lot.
will.
Front seat.
You're driving a lot.
Yeah, I will say, after the last meeting, when Paula told me that the zoning ordinance had been submitted to the county, I was panicked because I wanted to make sure that we are on the agenda for July so that we do not have an issue. I called down, I spoke to the planner for our region, for the metro region, was not in that day, but John Hershey talked to me and he assured me that he saw everything. We're on the agenda for July, so there is no chance that we are going to be pushed back. We are on schedule to have that zoning hearing, the last meeting in August. So
Good.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Oh, and the pre-bid meeting for the McGinnis project is Thursday morning at 10 o'clock, when Derek will be meeting with anyone wishing to bid on the phase 1 soil stabilization. He'll be meeting out there and answering questions and all that stuff. So it's moving right along.
Councilperson Murphy talked about unincorporated.
Yes, excuse me. As many, going on a larger scale, obviously would help us with costs, but there is a lot of things that would have to go into play. We'd have to find a partner. We can unincorporate ourselves. It's pretty simple. I was reading about the Municipal Consolidation of the Merger Act. It walks you step by step through it. However, so you have to have a partner or multiple partners that want to get together and do it. So it becomes worth the while going through the effort of economies of scale, working on bigger. But you lose your identity, that's for sure. You're not going to be Columbia anymore. You're going to be Columbia, but you're not going to be. You need a joint agreement between both governing bodies, which we know from just you guys trying to merge. Looking at merging with other police departments, we all know the issues, the difficulty we've had trying to accomplish that. So it sounds great, and the voters there's always the voters can put on an initiative to do it, but it doesn't mean you have to follow through. So I don't think it's really worth pursuing because it's going to take a long time. And like I say, you have to find a willing partner that wants to do it. So, but there are some other things. Again, when you get around to talk to people down at the trails and that, younger people are our future, and they're all about electronics and stuff. And we really need to look at, in my opinion, is getting rid of our outdated parking system and go to park mobile. 100%. Period. Just cut the cord. This is a date. That's that.
That is
anywhere else
that
you
is
go,
the plan. That is the plan.
I know, but I'm saying the sooner we can do it, the better.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're looking for.
Right.
A lot of people that come from out of town, they see parking meters are like, they're not used to parking meters anymore. So
They change?
Hmm?
How many change? You got a quarter? What's
yeah,
a
I
quarter?
got to change. What the hell is that? Oh, you have a card.
Oh, they obviously don't go to Aldi.
Yeah, that's your quarter.
So thanks for looking into that, Kelly. You're saying, if I summarize, you need willing partners, needs a referendum, super politically and charged.
It's
and,
not just it's not just governmental. You'd have to do your police. You'd have to do your all your departments. So.
But is it fair to say that not to take it off the table ever because it could be a last resort or a Hail Mary effort, right?
Right.
Okay. And go to directly to Park Mobile as soon as possible. So we do have a plan in place to phase meters out.
Right. And like I say, with the Underground Railroad Museum is coming, we really need to, partner with them and help promote. That's part of our town. We need as a borough council to promote that and any new opportunities like that come to town. They're redoing the Jansen Park, and we just really need to embrace that and push that. So, if the new people that are coming to town, like I said, the people who live here don't even realize half some of the things we have. We need to do better job, I think, of promoting ourselves.
Leo is not here. Jack's not here. His topic was
I
parking.
had a good one.
Parking. Do you have anything else to share?
You didn't relay anything about parking to me.
Yeah.
Anybody out there? You guys good? Any other ideas? Any other input?
What fees do you want to go down?
I've been going around and there have been people commenting about the price specifically for fees on the street sweeper. And like how often that goes around. I've seen some people suggesting cutting down on the number of times that it operates.
Okay, so here's the deal with the street sweeper.
Here's the deal with the street sweeper.
Here's the deal with the
There's
street
always
sweeper.
a catch.
Here's the deal with the street sweeper. Have you ever heard of MS4?
No.
That's the environmental regulations for the sediment in the Susquehanna River that goes down to the bay.
That all makes sense now.
The MS4 requires you to do so many things to reduce pollutants in the river, in the waterways. In urban areas such as Columbia and the boroughs, we have very few opportunities to get our MS4 credits outside of big projects, which we don't really have opportunities to do. So one of the easiest ways to get your MS4 credits is to run your street sweeper and sweep your streets. Not only does it, it wouldn't be necessary if people would throw their trash in a can instead of throwing it in the gutters. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I drive downtown and the gutters are full of trash. Like, who does that? So that's part of it. But then if we don't do it, we get fined by DEP $50,000 for not sweeping our streets. So everyone thinks it's this big moneymaker, but it's not. We have to do it or we're going to get fined by DEP.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
cost
They
of
gotta move the cars.
that's the cost of regulations. We have all of these regulations, and the regulations cost.
So the folks that are saying we need to lower the cost of street sweeping tickets are the folks that really don't want to move their cars.
Right.
So they'll pay the $10 ticket instead of the 20. But that's the whole point of it. You got to incentivize people to get their car to the other side of the street so the sweeper can do his job.
With
I've gotten them too, man.
Mm-hmm.
Parking.
I think every one of us here has.
I've gotten,
Well,
I've
I lived here for
gotten one.
21 years. The first